everybody, and welcome to the February 17th Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
We'll have 5 races to bring you this week, 2 separate segments. We'll get started with the 5th race from February 9th. This is a Knowledge of 2 lifetime claimer going 1 mile on the inner. We're looking at the 5 conflicted and the 8 winning token.
Yeah, we wanted to show a couple races from this day because this was the strongest inside bias that we had the entire meeting. And this was a situation, and we're not thrilled. We like winning token going forward. The 5-horse conflicted in the red that we circled first. We don't like him particularly going forward, though I think it's a reasonable guess between the two of us that he'll be running shorter next time.
Yeah, I would think so. That's where he's managed to run most of his career in short races. Was first off the claim for trainer John Tevick, this race that we're showing, and probably likes to turn him back after he faces the stretch here.
Yeah, the point about conflicted is, without being too harsh, conflicted was a sprinter stretching out with enough sprint speed that he was absolutely, in a quarter horse race, the fastest horse in this field early. He was stretching out on a racetrack that was heavily favoring inside speed. Yet for whatever reason, David Cohen, who rode conflicted, decided to rate him in this race. This was a major, major tactical error. This horse could maybe have wired the field. Maybe he wouldn't have, maybe he would have. The point is he had zero chance once he was rated. Because A, he doesn't want to go long, probably. B, he's not a horse that's going to win going long on the lead. He's not going to do it on this kind of racetrack. So his chances were completely, he was out the window. He was 1,000,000 to 1 when they hit the first turn. And he was one of the favorites in this race, actually. He was 580 to 1. Winning token, though, ran very well.
Winning token does run well, staying out wide throughout most of the way and chasing this loose on the lead winner here, Silver Birch, who gets away with modest fractions, 24 and 3, 48 and 3. But if you believe the inside was the place to be and up front was the place to be, that only helps his chances here and hurts winning token.
Yeah, winning token is back there in the red, and winning token's on the outside in the yellow-green. Conflicted is backing up in the red. And one thing to add about conflicted, I know neither one of us are thrilled with him per se going forward, but if he turns back, he'll have this very dirtied up line coming out of this race, and this is a race you can throw out. If you think he can win off his sprints, use him next time. Dismiss this race. Winning token, boy, he runs too well to lose.
Yeah, never stops running, coming all the way to the end here, and we'll actually see the horse in the middle, Artie's Chapter, steady late, and I don't know if that brief steady might have cost him a second place finish there, but in any case, winning token, on a fair racetrack, fair circumstance, probably the best horse in the race.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the first two finishers. The winner's at that modest pace on the front end, and the inside he drifted a little. The stretch, Artie's Chapter also rode the rail the entire way, and he had his chance. Winning token, far and away, was the only horse that was wide, and he was good 3 wide basically the whole trip that didn't need real running. He's one, we'll see where he ends up next time, but clearly that was a winning race.
Second race, we'll turn things back, take a look at a sprint. This is for New York bred maiden claimers, race number 9 from February 9th.
Yeah, this is an eventful race. A lot of things happen. The first thing that happens is Anna Mae Jones, the 8, steadies out. Anna Mae Jones was much the best in this race. You're going to see this horse in the red and white. That's the 7, and there's the 1. Both of these horses will have trouble. The 7 is going to move to the inside in the lead. This horse is being ridden by Kaplan, the apprentice rider, and this is an apprentice kind of mistake. A tepid ride. You have to go. You cannot get yourself in a situation, and he's got a crazy horse outside of him, the winner of this race, Paradise by the Sea, who goes in and out, and he ends up getting shut off, and your one horse, Wachiwi, who has more trouble than you can imagine, because just follow the 7 from here, the 1 behind him, Anna Mae Jones, who makes this long, sustained 4 wide run on the gold rail after steadying. They all have trips.
Yeah, Anna Mae Jones, probably the one I would want most off the effort here, but Wachiwi gets steadied back there, as does the 7, Mackenzie River, who is doing something new this time, being up on the front end as opposed to just being completely out of the race last time out. But Mackenzie River, Wachiwi have the trouble. Anna Mae Jones, firing away on the outside there, making this prolonged wide run.
Right, with no trouble and a fair racetrack, Anna Mae Jones wins this race by a city block. Wachiwi has the trouble after this. Okay, here's the 1 horse, Wachiwi, and you'll see this horse have more trouble in the stretch. And don't forget, it's already been steadied out. There's the 7. Forget about the 7 horse. But that horse could be interested in a spot. There's Anna Mae Jones out in the middle of the racetrack, the worst place to possibly be. Wachiwi has trouble, and moving forward, I guess a chance. Anna Mae Jones, I just feel like we missed our opportunity with him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Anna Mae Jones beaten 4 3/4 lengths in here. Obviously, you're not going to get the 8 to 1 or 9 to 1 that she was this time out. But I could see you getting a fair enough price to want to come back with her next time out.
We'll see. The thing is, she was also a turn back for this race, and I love them when they're turning back. And next time she'll run in a sprint. But clearly, she's the best horse coming out of this race. I know Paradise by the Sea won easily. I believe Anna Mae Jones would have beaten her in a different situation in a fair racetrack.
Yeah, and I think Mackenzie River could be a little interesting. This is a horse that ran in the Ava K maiden special weight race for New York Breds. Was obviously blown out in that race. Never really had any. Was never in a contending spot, but showed something new. Showed a new dimension by being up near the lead. I thought it was a little bit of an aggressive move to send her up there, and I think maybe next time out a rider change might do her some good.
Yeah, a little bit more aggressive, but purposefully aggressive, right, not tepidly aggressive, and maybe a rider. John Hurtler sometimes, one of these riders. John has a lot of good horses that can win. Ride his horses.
All right, the last race we'll take a look at in the first segment here, race number 4 from February 11th, a 1 mile 15 claimer.
Yeah, I think the thing to take out of this race, and we're going to show a couple horses in here in the 6 Giappi and the 8 horse on the outside Studley, who have monster wide trips. This track was verging unfair, but the thing to take out of this race was the inside horses dominated, because the 1-2 in rail 2-path horses on the lead dominate this race. These horses were just wide to nowhere.
You take a look at the horse on the lead now. Diablo's Fire is going to go wire to wire. The horse running in second, Prince Pressure Point, rather, is going to be second all the way around there. And you see our 2 horses that we're talking about here, the 6 Giappi and the 8 Studley, making these 4 and 5 wide moves around the first turn. Okay, at this point here, I think the best plan is to settle these horses and not try to keep going to the front. That's not what happens.
I agree. Now, obviously, Eddie Castro, who's riding Giappi, is having trouble with this horse, because you can see him jerking back and forth, and it's hard. And it's easy for us to sit here and tell them what they should be doing. Studley, if I had a criticism, Junior Alvarado, who's ridden very well here overall this winter, it's sometimes being prematurely wide moving on the backstretch in these 2-turn races. There they are outside. But I look back to a ride, and I believe it was this day that Ramon Dominguez gave, and maybe it was our 6th race, or 5th or 6th race. He rode a 6 horse that got caught wide in the turn, but he found a way to settle in a little bit behind horses. You've got to find a way to settle these horses, because chasing 3-4 wide, even on a fair racetrack in these distance races, it's just not going to work.
These 2 horses actually stay on pretty well. I mean, they're involved until mid-stretch. They're fighting. You could expect them here to to throw in the towel and start backing up. They don't. They try hard. They they make it to mid-stretch where they seemingly have a shot. I mean, I guess if you're watching the race, you probably figure they're not going to finish up all that well. The horse that I think could be a little bit of a trap next time is the 3 Spring Illusion, who's down inside here. People might say maybe the chance that he didn't want to come through on the inside there. Sat the perfect. She's made
Philly against boys.
Philly, right? Set the perfect trip there and just had no answer.
No, I think that's a very good point about Spring Illusion. She had a lot of things go her own way, even though the race won on the front end. She wasn't that far out of it. These horses ran 7th and 8th in this race, but they only got beaten a couple of lengths, and the finish makes them look like they ran a little worse than they did. And against the same field in a fair dynamic, I think they could run 1-2.
Yeah, I agree, and I think there's a chance that you might see one of them drop down in class even. I mean, this is 15,000. You might see them try for 10 or 7,500.
If they do that, they'll win.
All right, well, that'll do it for the first segment here on Trips and Traps. We'd love to hear your viewer comments. Tripsandtraps@NaraInc.com, the email.